Now, into the ticket office of Disneyland.
Oh boy, let's do this.
Don't think the CIA is going to be trying to hack your second-gen iPod.
I didn't think so. There might have been a lot of illegal music on there. I would doubt it. But, I mean,
Because that would be stupid.
iTunes is a constant source of embarrassment.
I approve this measure.
I really, 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 really don't see Apple ever doing that. I am Nadella.
Well, I can't do it anymore without laughing. I was going to do the whole thing. Welcome, everyone, to the Calling All Platforms podcast. I am your host, Wes, and I totally messed that up, didn't I?
Good one.
Dang it.
Off to a great start.
I will be your host this evening, and along with me will be Landon.
Hello.
And Caleb.
Howdy.
Hey, they didn't mess that up. That's good.
Yeah.
I'm the only retard here.
I managed to say hi. I'm so proud of myself.
Good job, Caleb.
I'm glad
You get
two
a
of you
gold
guys,
star.
Yay.
two of you guys can. Anyway, so apparently Google might have had an event this past week.
That's what I hear.
Yeah, I heard something about that.
Yeah, release of maybe a phone or two,
Yeah.
and a tablet, and a book.
And no, not a book.
Not a book.
They're not into the literature type stuff.
No, they don't like to
That's-
read.
That's Apple. They're the ones that release photo books every now and again of all their
That's
products.
right. That's right.
I still kind of want one. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to pay for it.
Oh, no.
Because
Yeah.
it's traditional Apple and costs a lot of money.
Oh, yes.
Yes,
But
yes.
especially for a photo book, it costs a lot of money.
very much so. And this is all exciting news. But guess what, guys? I don't have exciting news right now, but I definitely want to talk about this. So, Microsoft has dropped the ball.
A couple times.
Well, we're just talking about this one time.
Yes.
We're still in the game. We're talking about this timeout
Reason.
or penalty
Yes.
or flag or whatever you want to call it. This is a big red flag, actually. So Microsoft decided to release out their October update earlier than expected. And that was not a good idea.
No.
Well, what had happened in this recent October update is when most people, when they updated to it, they lost a lot of their files that were in their My Documents folder, My Music folder, and My Pictures folders.
Oh.
Yeah, that's rough. I after I saw the articles about this, I was like, I'm really glad that I did not check for an update on my computer.
Yeah.
I'm really
me
glad
too.
that my computer is traditionally about 6 months behind. Like, for whatever reason, Microsoft just doesn't want to give me updates on time. And right now, I'm okay with that.
You know, I understand that, stuff happens, but the thing that really irks me about it is they knew about this glitch.
Oof.
They came out and said they knew about it, but they pushed it out early anyway.
Ugh.
Yes.
Wow.
That's
Yes.
goodness.
It's it is not good.
No.
Now, what really I don't know what the proper way to fix this is. Like, they want to try and help, obviously. And so they've decided to give a hotline of 1-800-Microsoft if you would like to try and call them, and if you have any issues with missing files, you can call them and see if they can help you find them.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so to me it sounds like that's just more of a sympathy hotline, but
Yeah.
We're
Like,
going to give you
we're
somebody
sorry.
to scream at.
we're sorry.
I mean, I get it because there are potentially ways to recover some of this data, but doing it over the phone sounds like the wrong way to do that.
Yeah, that's just one thing. Like, if you they actually have dedicated a hotline, so if you want to just call and yell and scream, like they've got a couple other things that they would like you to try, like, hey, try this or this.
Right.
They do have that option, which you can find if you have been affected by this, to definitely, whether it's call 1-800-Microsoft or hop online and see if you can find a better way to find your files in your documents folder, which a lot of people, I'm assuming, have pretty close to everything of their documents in those folders.
Most people probably do, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
especially pictures.
I don't.
I don't either.
If it's just a gaming PC, then probably you don't actually care. But
Right.
if you use it for literally anything else, particularly backing up photos,
Yeah.
like if you've ever backed up photos into your My Pictures library, it's like, oh crap, there go all the wedding photos or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the thing is they actually knew about the glitch and was hoping, oh, it shouldn't be too bad. We might get one or two people, but apparently it was most people that updated. So,
Oh boy.
Yeah.
and I don't know why they didn't just fix it. Anyway, but they really dropped the ball, fumbled, punched a ref out, whatever you want to call it. They, I don't know, took him out at the knees.
They accidentally fumbled the ball right as the quarterback was being sacked, and then somehow accidentally punched out a ref in the same motion.
So they couldn't see the penalties. But man, everyone else saw it and YouTubed it, and they were caught. But yes, so I wanted to put that out there. So if you're having any problems of thoughts of, hey, I had just updated recently, or if you knew you updated and all of a sudden you can't find certain files, you may have been affected by this. Now, they have sent out, or they've re-released a patch plus the actual fixed version of this update. So everything is better now, but if you have been affected by this, there's some options for you. One is if you want to call 1-800-Microsoft and complain, there you go. They can help walk you through a couple of their ideas of how to get your data back. That might be one of your best bets, and that is 1-800-Microsoft. So that is something I definitely want to talk about. I don't like talking bad about a company I put money into, but I definitely think that we needed to talk about that.
Yeah, that's rough.
Any thoughts or ideas, gentlemen?
No.
I'm just gonna say it. Like Apple's gigantic misstep last year with Mac OS and being able to access root file system access by just on any computer where they had not put in a root password, which is most people's computers. That was a massive security flaw and was a big deal. And shame on Apple for letting it through, but at least they didn't delete anybody's personal files or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking of just kind of more the average people that don't, like, obviously you and I, we have our gaming PCs. We know where to put certain files.
Yeah.
Same with Landon.
It's like I don't use my Windows PC for documents or pictures or anything like that. It's just games and,
But like you said, it's for the other people that just plug their phone in real quick and want to. That's usually the default is like on my pictures or my videos or whatever, So
yeah.
I mean that's my wife there to a T. Like she'll just plug it in, go, and it's on the hard drive. Sweet, I'm done. So
yeah,
I'm just like, oh man, that would have been devastating.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I wanted to make people aware of that on the Microsoft side of that. Let's go ahead and we'll move on. All right, Caleb, what do you have for us?
Oh, boy. I have so many exciting things. Okay. First, we're going to start with some Apple rumors. No news, unfortunately, yet. Though, this week, hopefully, we'll be seeing some invitations for an October event that is going to be happening in a week and a half or so that will give us new hardware and new iMacs so that I can get a new computer at work. Anyways, that's my primary motivation.
We're excited for you.
Yay!
We really are. New hardware's awesome.
Well, okay. And what I'm really actually hoping for is a new Mac Mini so that I can buy a new Mac to have at home. Because currently, my MacBook Pro does not support the latest version of Mac OS. Which kind of sucks.
Makes sense.
Okay, so rumors. We are rumored to be getting a new Apple Pencil alongside new iPads at this supposed hardware event that should be happening in a week and a half or so.
Before you go on, I'm really hoping that they call it the number 2 pencil.
Oh, I agree.
They would make up for all the other bad names with that one name right there. And it would be amazing.
The number 2 pencil.
Yes. Yep.
Somebody quick, send Apple an email.
Yeah.
Quick.
I mean, I've heard this from other people that they also want that, but so, I mean, I didn't come up with this, unfortunately.
I was like, that was pretty dang clever, Landon.
Oh, that would be amazing.
I really hope that... I know it's not going to happen because it's Apple. It's probably going to be the Pencil X or something stupid like that.
XL. It's extra long. It's 4 inches longer than the regular one. That's
Could it be the number 10 pencil?
Oh man. Okay.
But they would make up for all their bad naming if they just do the number 2 pencil, because that would be amazing.
That would be pretty fantastic.
At the same time, though, if they did that, they'd have to come out with a yellow one.
Yeah. Of course, they just released a yellow phone, so
it's true.
Why not?
One of the interesting things associated with this new Apple Pencil, in addition to like newer version of Bluetooth and it's like lower latency or something like that, it's going to be pair by proximity, similar to the AirPods, instead of pair by plug. So currently, with an Apple Pencil, you want to pair it to an iPad Pro. You take the cap off the end of it, you plug it into the lightning port on the iPad, and it's all like, oh, do you want to use this Apple Pencil with this iPad? You hit yes, and away you go. Which is great.
Nice.
Like, that's fine. It's simple. It's straightforward. But that does mean that you have to have a stupid freaking lightning port on the back of the pencil, which they're all like, yeah, you should use that to charge too. So if they switch to a wireless pair by proximity thing, similar to the AirPods, where you just kind of get the pencil up close to the iPad and then the dialogue pops up, if they do that, that could mean that they'll be getting rid of the lightning port or the lightning plug on the rear of the pencil, which means that you might be able to actually charge this thing without sticking it at a 90-degree angle out from the freaking end of your iPad, which is just a really good way to break things, you know? So
yeah, that is one of the biggest design flaws I've ever seen Apple make.
Like, as much as I love that pencil, and that pencil is a sweet piece of tech, the latency is like non-existent and the pressure sensitivity is fantastic. It feels so good in the hand, but charging it is dumb. I don't charge it off of my iPad. I use this included little charger thing that lets you plug it into just a normal lightning cable. And, you know, it works fine for that, but it's really easy to lose the cap on the end in that circumstance. So I'm kind of hoping for, Qi compatible wireless charging on the thing. And, you know, that's kind of what I would like. But we'll see, hopefully, in about a week and a half. To go along with that particular rumor, there's an app analytics firm that is their technology is used in a lot of apps on the App Store. They have been spotting new iPad models in their device logs for about a month now, corresponding to new cellular and Wi-Fi iPad Pros, both in the 10.5 inch and 12.9 inch size ranges. And that actually is supported by the reported resolutions of these iPads, which are, based on what they're seeing, the same as the current 10.5 inch and 12.9 inch iPads, which means that if, like we're expecting, we're going to be getting Face ID on these new iPads, and the, basically an iPhone X style bezel-less design, we're not necessarily going to be seeing a different size screen, just a different sized body around that screen. So that's kind of what we're expecting right now. We're still expecting same screen sizes, same resolutions, same aspect ratio. So still the 4:3 aspect ratio for the iPads, all that kind of thing. But a smaller body is kind of what we're expecting at this point. And along with that, maybe not surprisingly to anyone, the new iPads are rumored to be headphone jack-less. So,
and also home button-less.
Right. Face ID replacing the home button. No Touch ID involved, and
which
no headphone
makes
jack.
Sense. Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised by any of that stuff.
The headphone jack on the iPad, I could see probably more people complaining about potentially.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people would use that to plug in like stuff to record audio with.
Right.
That was one of the better like products to record, like portable recording devices on the cheap, on the easy to use side of things.
Yeah.
That's one of the more popular ones.
Yep.
But if you take the headphone jack out of there, I mean, there are lightning microphones and lightning adapters and stuff like that for all that, but
Yeah. And honestly,
Yeah.
the lightning enabled stuff might actually end up being better just because at some point with recording equipment you have a digital to analog converter in the
Right.
line somewhere, and if
Right.
if the DAC is exterior to the device, then you can get a higher quality one that corresponds to the level of quality that you want from your recorded audio.
well, at that point, if you're buying stuff like that, you're not recording into an iPad.
I don't know. There are people that do crazy things.
True.
You never know.
But like one of the most popular ways to record into an iPad or something like that is the iRig devices, and those use the headphone jack.
Yeah.
Currently, not that they couldn't make one that worked with Lightning, and I'm kind of surprised they haven't. But that would make all of those obsolete.
Yes, it would.
You know what? So Square, the Square card readers
Yeah.
and stuff like that. When they took the headphone jack off of the iPhone, there was a lot of people that were like, "Holy crap!" The Square card readers, which are the easiest and most convenient things for a portable point of sale system. They're fantastic, and there was a lot of people that were really upset about that. And what Square did was they released, so you could still plug the thing into the Lightning to headphone adapter that shipped in the box with the iPhone 7. And Square basically just recommended that you do that, plug it into that, and then double stick tape it onto a case or something like that on the back of your phone so that it would be rigid. And that people did that for a long time. And then last year, I think it was, they finally released a Lightning enabled Square card reader because they were making enough money off of the stuff, and they knew that platform is really important to their financial viability in the future. And so they adapted for it. And I think that most companies that make products that rely on the headphone jack, they're going to make that switch. Because they know that Apple does, they sell a lot of devices.
Yeah.
They sell so many devices. And if you're not supported by the latest iPhone, then you're functionally obsolete and you've got to do something to solve that problem. Otherwise, you're going to lose a big chunk of your user base. So, yeah. And that's the thing. I think a lot of people are all like, oh, people will switch away from Apple because of this change. And what actually ends up happening is people switch away from companies like Square instead to something else that works with the new iPhone. That's I don't know. I don't know how exactly to describe that because even to me, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But the main reason I use my phone is because I like it. And, as long as they're still giving me a user experience that I enjoy, I'm not going to switch. And I guess that's probably true for all the people that are using it as a Square point of sale system and so on and so forth. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this shakes out. But yeah, I'm not surprised. If the headphone jack just vanished from all Apple products tomorrow, it honestly wouldn't surprise me. So, speaking of Apple products that don't have headphone jacks, the Apple TV. So we've talked a little tiny bit about all of Apple's plans for original TV content over the next couple of years. I have not really been mentioning it that much because I don't think the vast majority of people listening to this podcast care. But if you do care and you would like me to talk more about it, then shoot us a line at CapTechPod at wait, is that
that's the Twitter.
That's the Twitter handle. It's podcast at callingallplatforms.com is the email,
there
right? Anyways, or comment on the website or whatever and just say, hey, Spendlove, you should talk more about Apple's TV stuff. Because I will, if you want me to. But I did want to mention this one just because it kind of caught me by surprise. Apple is supposedly, with all this new TV content, going to be making it free to all device owners. Meaning that if you have an iPhone or you have an Apple TV or a Mac or an iPad or whatever, you have free access to all of their original TV content.
Wow.
If you don't own Apple's devices, odds are you can still watch it via iTunes on Windows or maybe Apple Music on Android or something like that, but you might very well have to pay a subscription fee for it.
Yeah, it's interesting because everything I've heard up until this point was that it was just going to be thrown into Apple Music. and it would be part
Yeah.
of that subscription service.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what they did originally with like Carpool Karaoke and Planet of the
Yeah.
Apps, but then they moved Carpool Karaoke into the TV app. So basically anybody who's got an iOS device or an Apple TV can watch that for free.
Yeah.
You don't have to have an Apple Music subscription as well. And so it sounds like that's kind of the push they're going to be making instead, is to just make it free. If you have an Apple device, then you get free access to this stuff, which actually just means that Apple recognizes, hey, we're a hardware company. We make our money not off of services. Yeah. I mean, they make a bunch of money off of services. They always like to brag about that during their earnings calls, that it's the size of a Fortune 500 company, just the services part of their business. But they know that's not where the lion's share of their money comes from, and they are willing to forego some profits on those services just to get people to buy more devices. So, yeah, okay, kind of interesting. But, I mean, it made me happy because I have crap tons of Apple devices, so, you know, free stuff, woohoo.
We like free stuff.
Okay. Now, the other thing of tech news, I actually do have some thoughts on all of the Google stuff that Landon is going to talk about, but something happened this past week. I was going to say something wonderful, but I don't actually think it was that wonderful. Intel had a press event and invited a bunch of press out to preview all of their new silicon for this year. And they introduced their 9th generation series of processors. So we're going to talk about a couple of these things. Not all of them. Like the cool stuff, like the really cool stuff that they introduced, I'm not really going to go into much detail on, because those processors start at about $3,000 a piece.
Oh, man.
I'm fairly certain that none of our listeners actually care.
Those
but just in passing,
those are the i9s, right?
Well, yes, but no. So Skylake X is the i9, right? So like that's what last year's Skylake X series chips were, what the i9 was. So they've released new Skylake X chips that are called i9s that have higher core counts. And basically what's happened there is they've taken some of their high core count Xeon processors from the previous generation. They've brought them down into the prosumer market. So that's accompanied by a price drop. And also, I don't believe they support ECC memory anymore. But so they've got up to 18 core, 32 thread processors with these new Skylake X chips. And so that's the i9 9970KXE, whatever, like some, you know, it's big number. But finally they have a high core count chip that can go head to head with Threadripper almost. Almost. And, is overclockable, which is something Xeon chips are not overclockable. So these new Skylake X chips are, and the stock boost clock of these things for at least 2 cores is up to like almost 5 gigahertz. So they're quick.
Wow.
So that's kind of cool. So the prosumer market, Intel has finally introduced something that is actually going to have a prayer of competing head to head with Threadripper. So that's a big deal. They also introduced new Xeons that are, again, like, because that's the thing. Skylake X now has the 18-core, 32-thread deal going on, which would be awesome against the first-generation Threadripper chips, except for AMD just introduced their second-generation Threadripper chips, which include one at the very, very high end that is, I want to say, I could be wrong, but I want to say 32 core 64 thread processor. That's a single chip, just boom, 32 cores. So Skylake X still doesn't have anything to compete with that. However, the new Xeons do. and so they introduced a bunch of new Xeons that should be able to compete more with Threadripper. I don't know if it's still going to be worth it, because Threadripper is enormously less expensive than Xeons are, like by like $3,000 to $4,000. And so I don't know if the value proposition is there for that. But that's the cool stuff. The less cool stuff, and the stuff that our listeners actually probably care about.
Sorry.
They have introduced new high-end core desktop chips. So the i9, the i5, the i7, stuff like that. The core i5, whatever. That's the stuff we're familiar with. what's interesting about this is that their high-end stuff, so their highest-end quote-unquote desktop chip was not the i9 last year. It was the i7 8700K.
Right.
Right? Mm-hmm. Yes. And then they released the 8086, the 8086, like oh my gosh, it was an anniversary chip for the original Intel 8086 processor from like way back in the early 90s. And so that was their highest end desktop chip. It was an i7. So now the i9, quote unquote, is now the top of the line for their desktop chips. It's basically just replacing that high end i7.
Okay.
Just to be clear for everyone, it's not actually an i9 the way that last year's i9 was. But let's talk about these a little bit. So first of all, you've got the i9 9900K, and then the i7 9700K, and the i5 9600K. So those are the chips that they introduced. They all have K at the end, which means they're all overclockable. Mm-hmm. They're all on the same platform. They all use the same physical socket as last year's i7s and i5s.
What's the socket right now? I can't remember.
Oh, what are we on? 11?
Is it 1150?
1150.
Because mine was 11.
I think it's 1150.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to say LGA 1150. So the i9 is an 8-core, 16-thread processor, which is pretty great when you consider that up until now, the desktop chips on Intel didn't have anything to compete with the Ryzen 7 processors from AMD that were 8-core, 16-thread. So here we go. i9 9900K is a 8-core, hyper-threaded, 16-thread processor. Then the i7 9700K is an 8-core, non-hyper-threaded processor.
What?
And the i5 9600K is a 6-core, non-hyper-threaded processor. And yes, Wes, we're all just as confused as you are by that.
What?
Because like, I get wanting to differentiate the really high-end 9900K from the 9700K. Like, that makes sense to me. But what would have made more sense is i9, 8-core hyper-threaded. i7, 6-core hyper-threaded. Right. i5, 6-core, non-hyper-threaded. That would have been great differentiation there. Like, this seems like a really, really boneheaded idea.
Because i7s have always been hyper-threaded. Why take that away?
I know. And that's the funny thing about this is we are now saying i7s are not hyper-threaded.
So is basically the i5 now basically the i3, the i7 is an i5, and the i9 is an i7?
I mean, I would assume that the i3 is probably just going to be a quad-core instead of a 6-core. Like, that would seem a reasonable differentiation to me. But like, I think that it would have made so much more sense to keep the i7 as a 6-core hyper-threaded, so 6-core, 12-thread processor, just like it was last year, and then the i5 as a 6-core non-hyper-threaded processor or a quad-core hyper-threaded processor, since that was kind of how it was last year. So I don't know if there's going to be other variations of the i5, because again, this is just the highest end of each of these three. So the highest end overclockable chips for each of these lines.
Right. And
there's a chance that we're going to be seeing some different stuff coming out of Intel in the next couple of months regarding the rest of these product lines. But everybody was pretty confused by that, that the highest end i7 that you can buy is not hyper-threaded.
So doesn't that make last year's better in a sense?
It kind of does.
Yeah.
It kind of does.
I guess you could save money by buying last year's model.
Yeah.
Unless
it's actually it's pretty hilarious because my younger brother actually just finished upgrading his gaming PC and he bought last year's i7, so the i7 8086K.
Yeah.
And then he bought last year's he bought a 1080 Ti, GTX 1080 Ti from Nvidia.
So jealous.
And then he was so upset when he realized that within a couple of months we were going to be getting new processors from Intel and new graphics cards from Nvidia. But the honest truth is, I think that I would still recommend his system over the systems that would have the newest stuff that were just released by Intel and Nvidia. Both of them I feel like have totally screwed the pooch on these releases.
But hardcore, that's... I'm still blown away right now. I really am. You said that and I'm that's a bad choice. Really bad. At least, files aren't deleted. I guess that's a plus.
Wes, it gets better.
Oh.
It gets better. So let me run through a couple of things just real quick.
Okay.
So the base clock on all of these chips is just under 4 gigahertz, and they turbo to just under 5 gigahertz. Let's be fair, that is not a full processor turbo. As far as I understand it, they have dual core turbo. So 2 cores at the stock setting will turbo up to about 5 gigahertz when you need them to, which is what most workloads require, to be fair. So you can, in your BIOS, if you want to overclock these things, you can have your BIOS lock the turbo to all of the cores at the same time. As long as you've got adequate cooling, you can turbo these things all the way up to 5 gigahertz if you want to. And again, they're overclockable chips, so you can do that. Intel did also throw a bone to all of their customers, and they have introduced a soldered thermal interface material. So anybody who has heard complaints about Intel's recent generations of chips, the TIM, if you've heard complaints about TIM, that's thermal interface material. What that is this stuff. It's basically thermal paste sitting between the giant metal plate on top of the processor and the actual processor die to transfer heat from the processor die itself to the metal plate so that the metal plate can transfer it to your cooler.
Right.
Past couple of generations, past couple of years, Intel has been using crap, like literal poop, in that space there. And it just did not transfer heat very well. So they've switched to a solder based, which means that it's metallic in nature, which means it'll transfer heat just great. So the delitting community can go away, I guess. So there you go. That was the positive thing that came out of all of this.
The solder.
All of this stuff.
Sweet.
Yeah. So to be clear, these new generations, this ninth generation of Intel chips, are still on their 14 nanometer process, which means they're still Coffee Lake. So we've been talking about Coffee Lake for a couple of years now. This is basically a Coffee Lake refresh. And if you recall, Coffee Lake was basically just rehashed Cabby Lake, and Cabby Lake was literally rehashed Sky Lake. So we are now on the tick-tock cycle of their TikTok cycle. It's just like, oh my gosh, Intel, do something.
They're struggling
new,
hardcore.
Please. They are. I don't even. This is so weird to see. Just AMD totally kicked them in the nards a couple of years ago with Ryzen, and it has been so much fun to watch Intel scramble. It's like I'm thoroughly enjoying it. So the i9 starts at $500 for this 9900K. The i7 is $400. The i5 is $300. Now, to put that in perspective, last year when not last year, it was like 18 months ago, when the i7 8700K released, that thing was retailing. So that was the top of the line desktop chip on Intel's platform. That thing was retailing for less than $400. Now you're paying more than $500 to get their highest end. And the problem is, it's not because this one is just that much better.
No.
They're basically doing the same thing NVIDIA did, and they're just jacking up the price of their top end stuff for no reason.
Oh, thanks.
So, jerks.
Just stick with last year's model.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Seriously. So here's another fun tidbit about these processors. Intel released some bench tests that were quote unquote supposedly done by a third-party verification tester. The third party that they chose, I can't even remember the name of the place, but they were not a gaming benchmark tester. There's a whole bunch of review houses and third-party reviewers and testers that have an enormous amount of experience testing processors in gaming situations and gaming benchmarks and stuff like that. They did not pick one of them. They picked somebody else entirely and had them release a gaming benchmark, a set of gaming benchmarks for people to use so that they could decide whether or not they wanted to pre-order the thing. Now, kudos to them for doing a third-party house, but the benchmarks that they released, they did something really stupid, right? So the idea was they wanted to compare it to all of AMD's processors. And initially we're quoting that the 9900K had a 50% average advantage over the AMD Ryzen 7 2700X, which is the top of the line 8-core 16-thread processor from AMD's Ryzen line. 50% advantage is pretty significant in gaming loads.
Yes.
However, all of the other third-party review sites noticed that on these results, they were running they were actually running the Ryzen 7 2700X and two versions of the Threadripper against, this stack of Intel processors, and they were running them all in game mode for the AMD platform. Game mode is the special thing that AMD has released that basically makes it so that Threadrippers won't try and run all, 32 cores to play a game that only requires 4. So basically game mode on Threadripper just turns off a whole bunch of cores and actually makes the gaming performance of a Threadripper chip way better. However, the 2700X doesn't need that. The 2700X shouldn't use that. And it actually makes the gaming performance of the 2700X significantly worse. So there was a bunch of outcry about it. This review house finally released the numbers for that included both for creator mode, which is just normal desktop use, versus game mode for these things. Turns out the 9900K is only 15% better than the 2700X in pretty much every game. And it costs more than 15% more. So, value for money, just not there. If, however, you're stupid, you can pre-order this thing now, and you can buy them in stores on the 19th of October. So, I would recommend against that. Don't buy the 9th generation Intel chips. Like Wes was saying, go get last year's.
It's cheaper.
Yeah,
cheaper and potentially better.
Yeah.
Yep.
That might be.
And actually,
go ahead.
For my money, I'm all about the 8-core 16-thread. I'm going to get a Ryzen 7 2700X, thanks.
Yeah, wow.
It costs, for the price of the 9900K, I can get a Ryzen 2700X and a motherboard to put it in for less money than the price of just the processor on Intel's side. And it comes with a really nice Tower CPU cooler as well. So, I don't know what Intel's doing. I think they're crazy, but it's been fun to watch.
They're scrambling, trying to pick stuff up.
They really are. It's great. I love it. It's so much fun. I was up until just a couple of years ago, I was like, AMD really needs to do something to light a fire underneath Intel finally. And holy crap, they did.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not in a good way at the beginning. Hopefully we can finally get a tick here.
Yeah, eventually. Jeez. So yeah, that's all of the tech news that I had.
Well, that was I hope Landon has something good from Google, because all the other tech companies are dropping balls left and right trying to put out fires. So, holy cow. Landon, any good news?
I do have some good news for me.
On the Google platform.
Oh, there's a new phone on the way.
Well, it's not shipped yet, but it's coming.
He's got a big old smile. Yes.
I did pre-order the Pixel 3 XL, and I'm very excited for it.
We'll
get
exciting.
to that.
Yes.
Okay, so Google had their Made by Google event this past week, and it was an interesting keynote, to say the least. Caleb, I think, would agree with me. It was...
Yeah.
I kind of get what Google was doing with the way it was structured. It was short. It was just over an hour. And they actually made a joke about that. They were like, "We know you don't want to sit through a 2-hour keynote." And I was like, that's a little kick at Apple. But I thought it was kind of funny. But I kind of wish it would have been a little longer, because it seemed like they rushed through a lot of things. And it wasn't necessarily bad. It just, they definitely could have elaborated a little more, given a little more detail about some things, mentioned certain things that they didn't. But we'll get into that. So, the way this keynote started was they had gotten multiple clips from different tech YouTubers, and they were all clips from videos saying how everything about these phones had been leaked, and we knew, someone's like, what is Google going to say at this keynote? We already know everything. And then I thought it made it even better, is after that, they started playing Help by the Beatles. And
Yes.
I really enjoyed that. I got a kick out of that.
We gotta love the sense of humor.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty good. And then after that, initially I thought this was kind of weird. It was Rick Osterloh. He's the senior vice president of hardware at Google. He was the first one on stage. I initially thought, oh, where's Sundar Pichai? You know, where's the CEO of Google? Where is he? But it makes sense that he wasn't there at all, at least not in the keynote.
Right.
But it makes sense. It's a hardware event. He doesn't necessarily need to be there. I just thought it was kind of weird that he wasn't. But anyways, one thing they mentioned right at the beginning is Smart Compose inside of Gmail. This is where you start typing something, it'll suggest basically a full sentence for you that is kind of going along potentially with what you're talking about. That is coming to mobile and exclusively on the Pixels at first in this next month or so. I thought
Pixel 3s.
Well, no, all Pixel phones.
Oh, was it? Oh,
Yep.
I thought it just said Pixel 3s. My bad.
Yep. All Pixel phones are getting this. And I thought that was kind of an interesting way to start a hardware event, but whatever. This thing, they focused a lot on AI plus software plus hardware. And I thought, I like where this is going. Because this is pretty much exactly how Apple has gone forever. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Software and hardware together. And now, I mean, they do AI stuff, and it's all on device. And it works. It works well. And I like it. And it's always been the case where if a company has full control over the software and the hardware, it just works better.
Yeah.
I mean, Caleb can definitely attest to this. Anybody that's used Apple products can attest to this. It just works better. And that was one really big thing I got out of this whole event was Google's trying their push into becoming more like Apple in their hardware side of things, which is good. They need to do that. Where I don't like them doing this is they're also basing their prices off of that. But we'll get to that.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get to that. Okay. So one thing they talked about is they want people to have their own personal Google. So like within like this, like kind of their own version of Google search. And they've kind of had this in Android already, where in the Google search bar, you can search for pretty much anything that's on your phone, like within settings, within apps, within photo, like just all the stuff that's on your phone, you can search through the Google search bar. Also, you can search on the internet. They're trying to do this just across your Google account in general, which I like. So you can, if you have something in the Google One Drive or on, I don't know, just pretty much just anywhere, you can search for it on whatever device you're on, which is kind of cool. They also mentioned a lot of times about security, and something that they have in all their servers is their Titan security, is what they're calling it. And they've recently came out with what are those little like those security keys that you can get?
YubiKeys.
Yeah, YubiKeys. They have their own one of those.
Yep.
It's the Titan security key, I think is what they call it. I don't know. But like all their security stuff has the name Titan, which, okay, it's fine.
Yeah, they got that brand and they're really leaning on it.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
hard.
Very. But between the Titan security they have at their servers, these new phones have, and I believe the Pixel 2s have a version of this, but this is an updated version, obviously, is the Titan M security chip built like on device on all these phones now. So between your phone and the servers, it's just they were saying how they're getting a closed loop. It's all encrypted and all this stuff. So it's more secure for the users, and it's more, not necessarily, it's not just on device, obviously, but because they have this security built into their servers and built into the phones, it's as good as Google can do with what they do.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, it's obviously not going to be like what Apple does, because everything Apple does is always on device stuff, and that's their shtick. So that's the way they're going to do it.
Yeah.
So after that, they showed picture. They basically announced all the stuff. They have the Google Home Hub, the Pixel Slate, and the new Pixel 3 phones. And they brought them up on the screen. And then something I thought was really interesting, I noticed they had like these little kind of table-like things just randomly placed throughout the crowd. And Rick, he's like, we want to show these devices to you. And then all of a sudden, on these tables, a hole pops up, and all these devices just raise up onto these tables right in front of everyone in the crowd.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was really cool. They were only there for like 10 seconds, and then they dropped back down.
Yeah.
But I still thought that was kind of cool. It's like, here's the products, and you get a relatively close-up look at them during the keynote, not just someone holding one on stage or just a photo of it on the screen. It's right there in front of you. Thought that was kind of cool.
That is cool.
So the first thing they talked about was what they were calling a thoughtful home, not just a smartphone or smart home, but a thoughtful home. And they were talking about how trying to get all these different devices to talk together. And I mean, obviously there's multiple products and services that do that for us, like between, it's the Google Home products already, the Amazon products, and just third-party products and all sorts of stuff. But they mentioned their first product they talked about was the Google Home Hub. This is their kind of first thing into the on-screen, or the home products with a screen on it. The smart displays that they have, like other companies have made. Lenovo has a smart display. I think JBL has one. The Google smart displays.
Yeah.
This is kind of like that, but it's using a different operating system, I guess. So the smart displays use Android things, and this one uses the same system that's on the Chromecast.
Okay.
But, I don't know. It's a little different, but they made it work, or they made it, the way it works is really easy to get around. The user interface seems pretty intuitive and easy to use. One thing I thought was
it really...
Oh, go.
It really felt to me like it was a rebuttal to the Echo show.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, it was basically kind of that whole, like, this is the little display that you put in your kitchen that does all of your timers and stuff for you, but also shows you recipes and that kind of thing. And it, you know, that's kind of what it felt like. It was not necessarily a direct answer to the Echo show, because there are some differences between the two, but more like a rebuttal. Like, we see what you were trying to do, Amazon. We think you did it wrong. This is how it should have been. And I actually really liked the Verge's live blog of the event. I can't remember who it was that said it, but they basically said Google should have just had somebody come on stage and say, ours works with YouTube, and then drop a mic and leave.
Yeah. They definitely could have done that. I like what Google's doing with this. I thought it was interesting. So they blatantly said there's no camera on this product. All the leaks that we'd seen, it looked like there was no camera, and we were confused. There's no camera. And they did this for security reasons. They were like, we want you to feel comfortable to have this next to your bed. And I totally get it, because, you know, everything else has a camera on it, and certain places you don't want to necessarily put something that has a camera.
Right.
And then there's Amazon that just sold you a smart camera.
Yeah, just the camera, yeah.
Just a camera. It's like, wow.
Yeah. So that was interesting. So another thing that they talked about with this, it has what they're calling ambient EQ. And what this does is it adjusts automatically to the light around it. So the screen will brighten or dim, but it also will change its color tone automatically to fit with wherever you're putting it, or whatever the lights in the space change and whatnot.
Right.
Because it is a smart home product, I mean, if you are using something like this, you potentially have like the Philips Hue light bulbs that you're going to be changing colors with. You know, this will adjust with that, which is kind of cool. It has voice match, so it knows who is speaking to it, so you can have multiple accounts set up on it. And also, like, if your kids want to watch YouTube videos, like Kayla mentioned before, because this has YouTube. If your kids want to watch YouTube videos, it'll know that it's your kids speaking to it, and it'll automatically have certain settings set up for them, so they can't get to certain things or watch inappropriate videos and stuff like that, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
One thing they mentioned with this device is if you buy it, at least initially, it comes with 6 months of YouTube Premium for free. Because that was another big thing, like Kayla mentioned, they talked about. It has YouTube. So you can get YouTube Premium. And they also mentioned YouTube TV and stuff like that. You can watch all of this stuff on this device, which is pretty cool. It's got a downtime mode. And what this is basically kind of just like, so when you're using it, obviously it's going to show you a lot of different things, and it can still like show certain things when it's just sitting there. But this downtime mode basically kind of turns it into a photo frame, which is kind of cool.
That is cool.
And
it goes through your photos.
Yeah, and they introduced this thing called Live Albums. So what Live Albums is, this is inside of Google Photos, and it's actually available now on inside of Google Photos. You can set it up so only pictures of certain people or pets or certain things will show up in these live albums, and even like new photos that you are taking. If certain people are in these photos, it'll just automatically upload them into this live album, and those will just scroll across the screen or to show different for a few seconds at a time, which is kind of cool.
That is cool.
One thing that I thought was really cool is they're calling Home View. And what this is used for is to control and manage all of your smart home devices from the hub. So it's literally a home hub, like what it's called. But
yeah.
So the problem with a lot of these different devices or smart home devices is sometimes you have to go into each individual app to do anything with them or to do a lot of things with them. But this is making it so like you scroll down from the top of the screen and all of your basic controls for all these devices are going to be right there to use. So that's kind of nice. It just will work with most products on the market today.
That's cool.
Also, with that, they threw that into the Google Home app on the phone, and that is now available as well. So, like that Home View control system, if you don't have one of these devices, you can do it on your phone, which is also really handy. Nice. Yeah.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Okay, this device is, let me see here. It is available to pre-order. It costs $149, which is actually cheaper than most people were expecting, and it's cheaper than the Echo Show. So they're already cutting Amazon at that, which is good, I think. It is going to be hitting retail stores, so like Best Buy and places like that, on October 22nd. Cool. And I actually like it. It's smaller than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
It's a 7-inch screen. So, basically throw a Nexus 7 tablet onto a speaker. There you go. That's this device.
You got it. That's interesting, though. That's cool, the capabilities it can do.
Yeah. I was pretty impressed with it. If I had smart home products, I wouldn't mind. This would probably be something I would want to buy.
Yeah. Same here.
And the speaker, it's an interesting layout. So the screen is all up front. The speaker is kind of behind it. Is kind of like the dock, I guess you could call it. But the way they have it set up is it should be able to, like the Google Home Max, recognize where it's at. Same with the Apple HomePod. It'll recognize where it's at in a room and kind of project music the right direction, I guess. I don't know how it'll work, but supposedly it still sounds pretty decent. It's more comparable to the regular Google Home in sound, which makes sense. It's not, for the price and the size, that, is to be expected, I guess. Okay, moving on. The next thing they talked about was the Pixel Slate. And this is their version of the Surface, I guess. that's kind of what I got out of it. It's a tablet that runs Chrome OS, and it's a slightly tweaked user interface than what's on like a Chromebook, because it's obviously more focused on touch than what Chromebooks are. It's got dual front-facing speakers that are, from everything I've seen, really good. Like, they're stereo speakers. Like, all the reviews or first like hands-on impressions I've seen of this device, everyone's saying it's pretty dang good. It's got a 12.3-inch LCD screen. It's a 3:2 aspect ratio. It's got an 8-megapixel. Oh, it's got 8-megapixel camera on the front and back, and the front one is a wide-angle one.
Oh,
so you can actually get more into your picture, which is nice. It has 2 USB-C ports on it. So for a tablet and, heck, a Surface, that's better.
Yeah, it's true.
Because as we mentioned last week, the Surfaces don't have USB-C ports. It does not have a headphone jack, which is unfortunate. I'm going to go... There's multiple different versions. Its starting price is $599, which isn't horrible until you hear about the specs.
Oh.
So...
Oh, did they actually release specs?
They did. That's one thing. They didn't mention specs in pretty much anything at this event, which was odd.
Yeah.
But...
Like, we came out of this event and, like, specifically the Slate, I was just like, wait, they spent all of this time talking about this thing, saying it was going to be an iPad or Surface competitor. It was kind of hard to tell exactly which one they wanted it to compete with. But then I was like, but at that price, what processor does this thing have? It's running Chrome, like Chrome OS, instead of Android. So I would assume it's an x86 processor from Intel.
Hopefully it's not a gold.
But at that price point... Well, right. At that price point, the only thing that I could think of was a Pentium Gold as being the processor that would fit into that machine. And so, but yeah, they didn't say anything in the event. I was just like, what the heck?
Yeah, so we'll start with the pricing and the specs. So $599 will get you a Celeron processor.
Oh boy.
And 32 gigs of storage and 4 gigs of RAM. $799 will get you a Core M3 processor, 64 gigs of storage and 8 gigs of RAM. And $999 will get you an i5, 128 gigs of storage and 8 gigs of RAM. And then $1599 will get you the Core i7, 256 gigs of storage and 16 gigs of RAM.
Whoa.
Wow.
So, I mean, this product is definitely set to battle against the Surfaces.
Yeah.
But on the low end, I would say nope. Yeah. On the high end, I would say that's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money.
Yeah.
For...
I mean, if you're going to buy one, I wouldn't get anything other than the i5 or the i7.
Wow.
With one of these.
I don't know, though.
I mean, the core...
That i7, $1,500 for an i7 and 256 gigs of storage. Is that what you said?
And 16 gigs of RAM.
And 16 gigs of RAM.
Which, I mean, if the rumors are true that Chromebooks or Google is working on getting Windows 10 on Chromebooks, you know, if you could dual boot this thing like that, that would be pretty cool. I mean, that turns it into a viable laptop type product. So, I don't know. I mean, the Core M3 version wouldn't be horrible if it was cheaper than $799, because, I mean, you get 8 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of storage. That's pretty close to what other Chromebooks cost. Or not cost, like what they spec out at.
Yeah.
I do have a question. Does the software for the Chromebook not need as much power? Kind of like how Apple doesn't need as much power as like Windows does to run their operating system.
Yeah.
Is Chromebook the same? Is that why it could get away with these specs? Like the low end? That's probably...
A lot of these devices, a lot of Chromebooks are on the low end when it comes to the processors. Because they do run pretty well with those lower end processors.
I mean, if we're basing it off of the Windows thing, obviously you'll need something more beefier for Windows. But
Right.
But I mean, I haven't used Chromebook or anything, so I don't know. But
I haven't
that
used one.
may be viable even at the lower end. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't used one a lot, but yes, they are. Chrome OS is made to work well on these lower end processors.
Okay.
So, I mean, a lot of them do have a lot of them have Core M3 processors or lower.
Okay.
There are a few of the higher end ones that have the i5s and i7s, and they do cost quite a bit, but not quite $1,600. But you know, it is what it is. So a few things they talked about with the Pixel Slate. It's got, like I said, it's got a new, slightly tweaked version of Chrome OS. It's optimized for touch. It also has. They also showed off split screen use, which that's kind of already there. I don't know why they don't just do like a windowed type thing, but whatever.
Yeah.
It works well with the family link that they have. So say you have multiple accounts on this or you have one for your kid, you can still kind of control certain settings and certain things that can be done on this device through that, which is nice. On Do Not Disturb mode, it's also has a night light on there. So if you are watching something and it's in a darker environment, it'll dim it down and put like a sepia tone type thing to it. You know, kind of a standard night mode.
Cool.
It's got built-in virus protection. It gets auto updates, and it also has the Titan security chip built in. On the power button, it has a fingerprint sensor, which
Yay.
that's a smart place to put a power button, in my opinion. Or
Yes.
no, a fingerprint sensor.
Fingerprint sensor, yep.
Especially when this doesn't have really small bezels, but it's small enough that you couldn't just throw one in one of the bezels around the screen, and you're not going to put a fingerprint sensor on the back of a tablet because that's stupid.
Oh man, does Samsung have a tablet that has a fingerprint sensor right in the middle of the back? Because I would not put it past them.
No, they're not quite that dumb. They just have the home buttons still on most of their tablets.
Okay.
The one thing that I thought was actually pretty cool is the Slate keyboard that they announced to go along with this, which unfortunately cost $199 by itself. Which
wow, that's definitely beating the Surface.
Ouch, that's a lot of money.
Wow.
Yeah.
Also,
it's backlit. Though.
It is backlit. Which
it is backlit.
Yeah, that I thought was really cool, and it's a full size keyboard, which is nice.
Nice. Okay.
It also has a pretty decent sized trackpad on it, which is handy to have. It's one of those like fold up folio case type keyboards as well, and the back of it props up the screen, the tablet part, and they showed off that it has kind of like the Surfaces where you can have a fully adjustable, like the way how far or not how far it lays down, you know?
Oh, okay, yeah.
It just slides along that little folio case quite easily, which was pretty cool. Another thing they mentioned is they partnered with Adobe, and when I first heard that, I was like, Photoshop? No. Adobe Acrobat is now optimized for Chrome OS, so you can use the pen to sign PDF documents and stuff like that, which is nice, but when they said they partnered with Adobe, and a lot of other people thought the same thing, they're like, ooh, Photoshop on Chrome OS. No, that is not a thing yet. That's really unfortunate, because I really got my hopes up for about 2 seconds, and
so
then
a lot
was
of people
shot down really quick. One thing that I thought was kind of unfortunate, it's only up to 10 hours on one charge, which I thought they could have got more out of, but I don't know. Maybe that's is that par for these type of devices?
Did it usually with a charge like that, they usually come up with like a video playback up to 10 hours or...
Yeah, they didn't mention that. They just said up to 10 hours on one charge. So
it's... Most of the Surface line sits around there. don't they, Wes?
Yeah.
Like right around the 10-hour average
Well,
use.
like I said, they give you like different, like, oh, if you only do this, you get
Right.
more, or if you use
Right.
Edge browser, you get, so it's hard to really compare. But I'm gonna assume, we'll say 10 hours.
Yeah. And I want to say that, like, the new MacBook Pros, they're 9 to 10 hours. The MacBook, like just the MacBooks are like 11 to 12 hours kind of thing, which is about where the iPads sit and is in that 10 to 11 hour mark. So that seems to have been the industry accepted standard for a while now. If you've got a fairly large screen device and you can get 10 hours of use out of the thing, that's great. That's good battery life, which for those of us who remember / still own laptops from the era of 2-hour batteries.
Yeah.
Like I have some laptops. I have seen laptops where the battery lasts long enough for you to get from one outlet to another inside of the same building. And that's it. Like if it's asleep, you close the lid, the computer goes to sleep. You can unplug it. You can run to a meeting room and plug it in, and it won't have died on you. But that's about as far as you can get. So, having been through those days, 10 hours is awesome.
Yeah.
Like, good job, Google.
Yeah. Okay. So I wasn't quite aware of what these other products were getting, but okay, 10 hours. That's not bad then. They did not give a release date on this thing. They just said available later this year. I would probably bet sometime in November would be my guess, but we'll see. And that was the Pixel Slate.
Yes.
Okay, so the next thing that they talked about was the Pixel 3. This was pretty much what everyone was wanting to hear about, so that's why they held it off till the end.
Well, everyone knew about it, so they...
That is true. We did know most about this device. There were a few things that we didn't know about. Most of that was on the software side of things.
Yeah.
I mean, we knew pretty much all the specs. So, and I will get into that first. The specs on this device, it has a Snapdragon 845, 4 gigs of RAM, 64 or 128 gigs of storage, Bluetooth 5. The back camera is a 12.2 megapixel f1.8 lens with optical and what's the word?
Optical and what?
Optical image stabilization, whatever.
Yes.
Yeah. I can speak well.
That's what it is.
I can speak. Okay. It also records 4K video at 30 frames per second. It's pretty standard. On the front, this is where things get interesting. So all the leaks showed that it had two front-facing cameras. It does. They are both 8 megapixels. One is a standard f1.8 aperture lens. The other one is a 97-degree wide-angle f2.2 aperture lens.
Yeah.
And
yeah, Google was listening to our podcast like last year or the year before when Wes was whining about the dual lens setups not being wide angle.
Well, that was me. I always
doing telephoto and oh, sorry, yeah. Landon, not you, Wes. Sorry,
I do complain a lot about things. Yes, I do.
Just not that particular thing.
Yeah.
So Google was listening to you, Landon.
Kind of.
They paid attention.
I mean, this is the front camera, but which
it's
actually,
true, but to be fair, that was the thing you were most complaining about was like, trying to get a group of people into one photo and stuff like that. Now you can be in the photo too.
True. Huh? That is true.
There you go.
So, I mean, it is pretty nice. So these phones, the battery on these phones, so the 3 has a 2915 milliamp hour battery and the XL has a 3450 milliamp hour battery, which is actually bigger than what the rumors suggested. They were thinking 3430. Not that much bigger, but a little bit. Starting price.
Oh boy.
Starting price for the 3 is $799, which is $150 more than the Pixel 2 started at.
Correct.
Yeah.
And the 3XL starts at $899, which is $50 more than what the 2XL started at. So that's not as big of a jump, obviously. It's still a lot of money for phones.
Yes.
And a lot of people are complaining. It's like, those specs at that price, it's like, have you seen the iPhone?
To be fair, literally the only advantage they have over the XR is that the OLED display.
True.
And you can get the XR for less money.
True.
So, I mean, that's it. That actually was the thing that surprised me the most, was when they announced the prices, and I was like, holy crap, I'm going to be paying less for, like, well, and since I knew Landon was going to be getting the XL, significantly less than Landon by buying an iPhone this year. And I'm like, that's kind of weird.
Well, okay, so along those lines, I did pre-order the phone, the XL. I'm doing the trade-in thing that Google does with my phone, so I'm actually getting a $130 discount on that price.
Nice.
For my phone, which is...
By the way, the trade-in for Pixel 2 XL is $300.
Well, yeah, I know.
I don't know. I didn't know if you looked. I was like, I was just curious how much mine would be.
But I don't have a 2XL. I have the 1 XL, so
right.
I can't do that, Wes. Jeez.
Ooh, I was just saying.
I'm actually really curious now, like, what Apple would give me for my 7 Plus.
It wouldn't hurt to look.
Trade-in. Yeah.
I mean, I know I could probably get more for this phone selling it myself, but I just don't want the hassle.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much more I could get. I mean, I'd probably get at least $200 for it, but again, I don't want to go through the hassle of trying to do that. And this is just easier. And so that's what I did. They also, like with the trade-in stuff, they also take phones from other companies. They do iPhones, they do Samsungs, they do LG, you know, a lot, they even take Huawei phones. So, you know, depending on your phone, you could get a substantial amount towards one of these phones. So that's kind of cool. Okay, so places to buy it. Verizon has it. They are actually doing a buy one get one free deal.
Yes, they are.
If you do a new line for the free one. So if you already have lines set up to buy these phones with, you have to pay full price. But I like the buy one get one option. That's pretty cool. One thing I thought was interesting, these have Type-C headphones in the box, which was leaked, but that is official.
Yes.
They're basically the same headphones as the Pixel Buds, but not wireless, obviously.
Yeah.
And I also read that it is getting guaranteed 3 years of updates, not just security updates, but software updates, which is nice.
That's nice.
One unfortunate thing with this is gesture navigation is the only option. Not that I care, because ever since I updated my phone to Android 9, like in the developer preview, I've only been using the gesture navigation just because I wanted to try it out. Now I'm just used to it, and I'm not going to go back, especially knowing that my next phone is only gesture nav. But I get it. That's the way they want to move with these phones. So, you know, may as well just do it. Get it out of the way.
Yep.
Another thing I thought was interesting. So this phone definitely, obviously has a bucket of a notch on it. There,
a bucket. I like that.
It's just
that's a good description.
It's deep. But there's a way to turn that off, kind of. It's the wrong way to do it, in my opinion. So inside of developer settings on the phone, you can go in and turn off the notch. Basically what it does is just turns that part of the screen black. But the way they did it, and what I don't like about this, is all of the notification stuff it drops below the notch. So like LG on the V40, they have a notch, and you can do a software tweak to turn out, like to basically black out that area, but it keeps the notification stuff up there. So you're not losing any screen real estate by doing this. It just makes it so it's not quite as noticeable. That's the proper way to do this, instead of still dropping all the notification stuff underneath of it. And that could be fixed in a software update. We'll see if that happens. I'm not going to use it. I don't care that much about the notch, I guess. Well, as of now, we'll see how if that changes when I get the phone. Right now, I don't really care that much. Before we get into stuff that Google talked about, I want to mention how DisplayMate got a hold of the Pixel 3 XL, and they tested the display on it, and they gave it A+ rating. which I thought was pretty good considering all the crap that it got last year with the 2XL.
Last year, yeah.
On that OLED display. It's okay. So DisplayMate says they also gave it the best smartphone display award, which is interesting. I haven't gone in. They haven't released all their notes on this display yet. They just sent out a tweet basically, and I'll just read what their tweet said. It said DisplayMate has lab tested the Google Pixel 3 XL OLED display, which has earned our highest A+ rating and the DisplayMate Best Smartphone Display Award. Our in-depth display shootout review article will go live on Monday, October 15th. So by the time this episode is released, you'll be able to see that.
Cool.
So
that'd be cool to see.
I'm interested to see the details on that, just to see how exactly they test it and what they tested and how all the little things compare to other phones. But that's what they said. So now we'll go into what Google did or talked about with these phones. Something I did not mention. The Pixel 3 has a 5.5-inch display, and they are both OLED displays. They're the same panels, I'm assuming, just different sizes. So that's nice. Whereas last year the 2 was an LCD and the 2XL was an OLED. The XL this year has a 6.3-inch display. So smaller than what some of the rumors were saying. I saw anything from 6.5 to 6.9, which is massive. But this 6.3, and I'm perfectly fine with that. Basically makes it take out the notch right around a 6-inch display. And, it sounds large. I mean, with phones today, that's really not. But I came from a Nexus 6, which had a 6-inch display, to my Pixel, which has a 5.5-inch display, and I thought this phone is teeny. I want my big screen back. So I'm getting that, and I'm glad. It's got 2 front-facing speakers, and from everything that I've heard so far is they are actually really good. Like, really good. So I'm looking forward to that. They're also offering, when you buy this phone, 6 months of YouTube Music for free. I don't know if I'll take advantage of that because I used to listen to a lot of music. I now listen to podcasts all the time. I'm subscribed to like 50 or something like that. So
that's how we know we're getting old, people. Because I remember back in the day listening to, like, my daddy listened to talk radio, which podcasts are talk radio,
Pretty
and
much.
it would drive me nuts. I'm like, put on the tune something, Dad. And now I'd rather listen to podcasts. Yep.
Oh
yeah.
Oh no, I'm still music. Give me music or give me death.
Oh, right.
Young forever.
Yeah, you say that.
Yeah.
Well, he's got to compromise. He listens to that soundtrack show. So
I do listen to the soundtrack show. That
It's a good one.
podcast is awesome.
That is a great show.
Anyway, so the next thing they talked about quite heavily, this was probably what they talked about the most with the phones, was the camera and the software that's involved. So these sensors aren't that much different from the 2 and 2XL. They are updated versions, so they are a little bit better, but not that much when it comes to the hardware. But the software that's where Google has always basically reigned supreme in what they can do in post-processing of these photos, and why their cameras have always been really, really good. They actually said that they're partnering with Annie Leibovitz, a professional photographer. This is the first phone camera she's partnered with ever. I thought that was interesting. But they didn't really go into detail what that she's doing with it, but she's going to be using this phone exclusively, specifically the camera, for certain shoots, which I thought was kind of cool. They also worked with 7 different photographers to have 7 different magazine covers photos taken with the Pixel 3, including magazines like Glamour, GQ, Allure, Traveler, different things like that, which that's kind of cool. And the photos that they showed off looked really good. So a little more about the camera. Obviously, it's got HDR+, which that's just kind of like what Caleb mentioned with the iPhones. It's just their way of explaining what these cameras are doing. It's really more technical than what HDR really is.
Yeah.
But that's just the way to kind of dumb it down for anybody that's listening. A simple way of explaining what this is, basically. The phones obviously have the Pixel Visual Core chip built in, and they've actually made it so last year with the 2 and 2 XL, they had the Visual Core chip, and it would do part of the processing for the photos with that. This is doing 100% processing for all photos on the Visual Core. So that's a good thing, because then they can do more with that, because it's their own custom-made silicon that they control. It's not some third party that's making this. It's Google making this. They know what's in it. They know what it can do and what it can't do. So they can more fully take advantage of that, which that's a good thing. So the first thing that they showed off was this feature called Top Shot. And they showed this really clever video of people taking photos at just the wrong moment. So it was like either slightly before or after they really wanted to take the photo. So they'd get people blinking or a hand in the way or something crazy, like falling or something fun. And it was pretty funny little video. But what Top Shot does is it takes a bunch of pictures before and after, kind of like what the iPhone does, what they did with live photos, in a sense, kind of.
Yeah.
But this will automatically suggest the right photo that you probably want. And you can also go into and select, you can scroll through the different photos that it took and select which ones you want to keep.
That's cool.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah. It's kind of like a combination of burst photos and live photos on the iPhone.
Yeah.
It's...
I thought that was pretty cool. That is actually coming to the other Pixel phones, I believe, as well.
I like that.
That's one thing that's nice with what Google does with their cameras, because most of it's software. A lot of things can roll back to other phones, which is cool.
Yeah.
Another thing they talked about, and this was really interesting, it's called Super Res Zoom. So, because Google is using one camera on the back, they don't have a telephoto lens, so they can't do hardware zoom. They're using digital zoom. But the way they make this work so it doesn't make a really pixelated photo is they use the shake of your hand and or the optical image stabilization in the lens to, so if you have your phone set up on a tripod and you're taking a picture and you want to zoom in, it will automatically move the lens, or like I said, use the shake of your hand to take multiple shots to remove those blurry pixels.
That's cool.
It's really cool, and it's I don't know how they thought of this, for one, but it's amazing. And the shots that they showed obviously are going to be really good, but they looked pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm interested to try this out in particular because that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
The way they described it, how it works and all that stuff. The next thing they talked about was called Night Sight. And this is coming next month to the Pixel 3 and also the Pixel 2 and Pixel 1. But this one, this was another little kick at Apple. They showed two pictures on the screen. It was the same picture, basically, but one they said was the iPhone XS, one was the Pixel 3. And the XS was much darker looking than the Pixel 3 photo. The XS photo looked like it was taken in the evening with little sunlight, and I'm sure it was, because that's what it looked like.
Yeah.
But then the Pixel 3 photo looked like it was taken 2 hours earlier, basically, the way it was lit up.
Yeah.
And this is something I've talked to Caleb about this. Once he gets his phone and I have this phone, I want to actually go out and test this, see. And I'm sure there's going to be lots of people that do this, that go and have both these phones and are going to test them. Because if the Pixel is really that much better at low light photography, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I have a suspicion because the way that the picture for the iPhone was labeled was iPhone RAW photo or something like that, but it included the word RAW in it, which to me almost suggests that they may have been using just like, either a third-party camera app or turning off the HDR features and stuff like that are on by default in the iPhone camera app, so that they were just getting like, this is just the low light performance, because they didn't want something like the HDR functionality of the camera to help it out at all. And there's a very good possibility that the way that they're doing it is not necessarily HDR, that they're doing something else so that you don't need the HDR features in order to get good low light shots on the Pixel 3, which is fine. And maybe that's what they wanted to draw attention to. But if that is the case, then turning on HDR features, that's what they're there for. They're designed to overexpose stuff like that so that you can get better exposures in low light photos and that kind of thing. Yeah. So I don't know. That's kind of my suspicion. It'll be interesting to see how it actually plays out once the phones get into people's hands.
And that's why I look at those photos and I'm like, okay, that's obviously what you're going to show off. I want to see what real tests show. And so far, I haven't seen any comparison tests yet, but I have seen people that have the Pixel 3 XL and 3 have taken some photos like inside of buildings and low light scenarios, and they have turned out really good from what I've seen. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, I definitely want to see actual comparisons from not Google and not Apple to see what they really look like together. And yeah, I want definitely when we both have our phones, I want to go out and test this theory out, especially to see the single camera from Apple to the single camera from Google to see what the differences are. Okay, so moving on to the front cameras. Like I said, they have two on the front, and they're calling one the group selfie cam. And they had another great video with showing people trying to take pictures or videos with multiple people, or they had one in particular. The guy was like taking a video, and you could kind of tell he was at the Eiffel Tower, but he was like, "Look where I am," and you could see the base of the Eiffel Tower, and that was it. It's like,
yeah.
And you could tell as he was doing the video, he was getting more and more frustrated. Like, crap, I can't see anything. This is stupid. And it was pretty funny. But so, I mean, if you're gonna do two cameras on the front, make it a wide angle. That is smart. And they also have it set up so you can like scroll through, like zoom in and out, and it's very seamless. But way it switches between the two cameras, like you can't even tell just watching it do it. It just works, which is smart as well. Looks pretty cool. So that'll be a nice feature, I think. Okay, the next thing they talked about was going into some AR stuff. So they announced this thing called Playground. What it is just AR stickers renamed, basically.
There you go.
It works on both the front and rear cameras, whereas before it just worked on the rear camera. So now they can do it on the front as well, which is okay, whatever. They're launching this, and they I want to say last year when they initially launched AR stickers, they partnered with Star Wars, and you could do BB-8 or Stormtrooper, different things like that, and it was pretty cool. This time they're partnering with the Avengers, and they showed it off with the Hulk and Iron Man. And one thing I thought was kind of cool is it can, like, the sticker, or actually they're calling them play emojis, is what their word is.
Wow.
Yeah, fun, huh? So these things can now respond to your actions.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, if someone else is holding the phone and you're out there, you can't see it. So, but it'll respond kind of to what you're doing. But if you're using the front camera and you can hold it out and see what's on the screen at the same time, you can, do certain things with it, which is kind of cool. So, like, one thing they showed is someone taking a selfie with Iron Man, and he posed in a certain way, and then Iron Man posed in the same way, which was kind of cool.
That is cool.
That one, it says, is launching on the Pixel 3 and then coming to the other Pixels later, sometime next month, I believe. Okay, another thing they talked about with the camera is Google Lens is built right into the Pixel 3 camera, even for, like, it does on-device stuff offline. So if you don't have a data connection somewhere, or if you're just in airplane mode or whatnot, it can still do limited stuff with Google Lens offline, which is kind of cool. But, I mean, if you've used Google Lens, you kind of know already what it does and how it works. This is just built straight into the camera app and just works automatically, which is kind of cool. All right. The next thing, I already mentioned this, but at this point, they're like, we know you don't want to sit through a 2-hour keynote, so we'll try and get to the point a little quicker. And they did. I just thought that was funny. Again, I kind of wish it would have been a little longer. They could have made this an hour and a half or even closer to 2 hours, and I don't think I would have got bored like I did with Apple's keynote.
Yeah.
Because they had so much extra stuff they could have talked about, because they did not mention any tech specs of any device other than the cameras, and even then it was very limited on the hardware side of things. So they could have talked a little more about that, but they didn't. And it, like I said, certain aspects of it did seem kind of rushed. They could have slowed down and elaborated a little bit more, but whatever, it's fine. Okay, one thing that I thought was interesting as well with the cameras is they're doing what Apple has done with the iPhones, where you can edit the blur, so the depth of field basically on photos post taking the picture. So like Apple did this on the 10s, and the 10R has it as well, right, Caleb? Kind
Yes.
of. Well, not as good as the 10s, but it's there, right?
Well, I mean, it's there. We don't know whether it's as good.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
We
We're assuming it's not as good because of the
we
dual
haven't seen
camera
the
stuff.
XR
Yeah.
yet, so we don't know.
But so Google has added that into the camera app, that's cool. The next thing they talked about, that the Pixel phones are going to be getting Google Duplex. And so if you don't remember, at I.O. they talked about Google Duplex. This is basically where Google Assistant can make phone calls for you. So the Pixel phones are going to be getting this, I believe, next month in November. And this is all the Pixel, so Pixel 1 up to 3 are getting Google Duplex. Something that is coming to Pixel 3 first and then to the other ones later is something called Call Screen. And this is what it sounds like. It's basically a way to screen your calls, but it uses Google Assistant. Mm-hmm. So what it does is Google Assistant will answer the phone call for you, ask who it is that's calling, why they're calling, and it will show on the screen a text transcription of that conversation, so you can choose what to do after that. So you can either answer it, ignore it, or report it as spam, or send a message saying, hey, I can't talk right now, or whatnot. And it does all this for you, which is I'm actually looking really forward to.
Yeah.
Because most of the phone calls I get nowadays are spam phone calls, and I just don't answer them. If it's a number I don't know, I just don't answer it.
Yeah,
and if it's important, they'll leave a message, and most of them don't.
Yeah, they don't. So
I'm looking forward to testing this out and seeing how well it works, because it looked awesome.
Yeah, I was looking at this. This is a feature I'm like really excited for. Same as you, I get a lot of just spam friggin' calls. So
yeah. So another thing they mentioned is what they're calling flip to shush. Basically, what this is you're getting a phone call, you want to make it quiet, you just turn your phone over.
Yes.
And I believe you can do that if you just turn it over face down on the table. It will put it into do not disturb mode, kind of. I think that's kind of what I got out of it. So not just during a phone call, but after as well.
Yeah.
So if you're in a meeting or whatnot, you can just put your phone face down and it turns all these things off, which is kind of cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think that's right.
I mean, that's what I got out of how they described it. So
yeah,
that's kind of a cool little feature. And again, these phones have the Titan M security chip built in, so a little more security on the on device, which is nice. They also have wireless charging, thank goodness. So it's a glass back. But the way they did the glass back, and this was obviously in all the leaks, it's kind of like an etched glass on the bottom 2/3 of it. So it looks very similar to the Pixel 2, where on the Pixel 2, it's an all metal body except for the glass at the very top. This looks like that, but it's a whole glass back. Some people are saying it does add a little bit of grip. It makes it still feel like a metal backed phone with it being glass. Although things that I've seen so far is it does scratch pretty easily, that etched area. So that's interesting. I mean, I'm putting a case on it either way, so I don't really care. But it does look good, I think. And the next thing they mentioned to go along with the phone is the Pixel stand. This was also leaked a little bit. This is a fast wireless charger. It's interesting the way this it'll work with pretty much any Qi enabled wireless charging phone. So iPhone, Samsung phones, whole bunch of phones out there could use this charger. But if you use it with a Pixel phone, it can basically turn your phone into a mini home hub, kind of, in a sense.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, it puts up an interface that it shows, like, Google, like, you can access Google Assistant without having to touch the phone. It adds a lot, certain voice commands and stuff like that to it, but a different interface as well. But it can also become that photo frame, like what the Home Hub does.
Yeah.
So you can have your live album scroll through, which is kind of cool. But you can also have the screen off if you want, which if it's going to be next to your bed and you're sleeping, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's going to be what you want. But I thought that was cool. There were rumors that was going to be the like free thing you could get if you pre-ordered the phone. That's not true, unfortunately.
Dang it.
So unless you're in Canada. In Canada, that from the Google store, that comes if you pre-order the 3, which is interesting. Not that they didn't do it in the U.S. But it is what it is.
Well,
let's see. The Pixel stand is $79, which it's not super cheap for a wireless charger, especially where you could get a Samsung quick, like a fast wireless charger for around $50 or cheaper on sale in a lot of different places.
Yeah.
But whatever. It is what it is. The Pixel stand is going to be available on November 1st. So just got to wait a little while for that one. Okay. Let's see. Now, that was basically the whole event and everything around that. Was a couple things I wanted to talk about with the Pixel phones. So I noticed, or I saw an article that mentioned this, that while they're not giving away anything with the pre-order of the phone in the US, if you were one that had signed up to receive promotional emails about this product, so when Google announced the event, they sent out on their website, you could sign up for updates. I did that because I'm me and I do that. It's just what I do.
Yeah, works.
In the email announcing these new products, it says if you pre-order a Pixel 3, you will get $50 Google Store credit. Now, it doesn't come right away. It says in the small text at the very bottom of the email that nobody reads, it says that this $50 credit will come 4 to 6 weeks after your phone has already shipped. But what I plan on doing with this $50 credit is buying a Pixel stand for only $30.
Hey, that's not a bad idea.
No, that's what I thought. I mean, you could use it towards anything else, like a Chromecast or a phone case or whatnot, anything on the Google store, but I want the Pixel stand. So
that sounds pretty cool.
That's what I'm going to use it for. But I thought that was kind of cool. I may not be getting a free one, but hey, $50 off, I'll take it. Okay, so other things that have come out since this event that Google didn't really talk about. Driving mode on the Pixel 3. So what this has done on the Pixel 2s in the past is if you enable the driving mode, it'll sense when you're driving. It'll basically turn your phone into do not disturb mode, which is handy.
Yes.
This one on the Pixel 3, and I don't know if this is coming to past Pixels or not, but on the 3, it can automatically turn on Android Auto for you. So you could slap your phone onto a dock on your dashboard in your car, and when you start driving, it'll just automatically pop up with Android Auto. So that's kind of cool.
That is cool.
Something they didn't talk about at the event that was leaked quite a bit was a new Chromecast.
Yes.
But it did come out. They do have a new Chromecast. But why they didn't talk about it is because it's a very iterative update. It basically has faster Wi-Fi, and that's pretty much it. Oh, I guess it can stream 1080p video at 60 frames per second now, instead of just 30 like on the previous Chromecast. So,
okay.
Yeah, it does have the slightly tweaked design where it's a matte black finish, or they have a white one as well. But yeah, it's nothing major. So I get why they didn't talk about it at the event. And that's fine. Whatever. Okay, so some other things that I noticed. On the Google Store, on their website, there's a lot of new smart home bundles that you can get between like the Nest products or the Google Home products or Chromecast. You know, they have a lot of different discounted bundles that you can get now, which they didn't have before. That's kind of cool.
I did see that when I was looking.
Okay. Moving on. Something I read recently that I'm kind of excited about. External mic support is coming to the Pixel Camera app on October 18th.
That's cool.
Oh.
Yeah. So like you could have used an external microphone plugged into the phone before. Granted, it'd be easier for me on a Pixel 1 because I have a headphone jack. But you'd have to use a third-party app. So this is just right within the Google Camera app that it'll work. So that's kind of cool. So if you're recording video or something on your phone and you want to still have pretty decent audio quality, but not have to record that on a separate device, if you have the hardware to plug into your phone, that's going to be an option.
That's awesome.
So that's kind of cool. Something else I noticed inside of the Google Store that wasn't talked about. It's not a product by Google, but it's an accessory. It's coming from the company GameVice. And what this is a controller for your phone. So this works with Pixel 2 and 3 phones, and it has a USB-C plug that plugs into your phone and gives you all the basic like buttons and every joysticks that a controller would have. So if you want to play certain games with a controller and you don't have a Bluetooth one or something like that, this is an option for you. And it's $80 on GameVice's website or on the Google Store. It also has a headphone jack on the controller. And it also has a USB-C port so you can charge the phone while playing the game, which, thank goodness.
Yes.
So if it didn't have that, you would be playing the game for a few minutes and then have a dead phone.
Yep.
Because a game on a phone that you're going to be wanting a controller for is going to be using a lot of battery.
Yes.
But I thought that was kind of cool. So, like, kind of like what Caleb got for his phone from China. That cost, what, $15?
No, actually, all said and done, it cost about $3.
Oh, jeez.
$3.
So
it's nothing like this though. GameVice they've been making controllers like this for iPhones for a number of years, and they're quite nice.
Yeah.
they're much nicer than a lot of other options. And it's, you want to turn your phone into a little Nintendo 3DS or whatever, then awesome. That's the one for you.
Yeah. But I thought that was pretty cool. Another accessory that is going to be coming to the Google Store, OtterBox is making a Mickey Mouse home, like Google Home Mini base.
What?
So they have a few updated colors for the Google Home Mini. One of them is like a dark black color. And so if you put that with this Mickey Mouse base, it looks like Mickey Mouse. Like the base of it is like the red suit, and then his ears come up, and you put the Home Mini inside of this thing.
And then that's the
thing for it.
That's
it looks
cool.
pretty cool.
That's cool.
It's going to be available for $19.95. So not too expensive. I mean, if you're into that sort of thing. If you don't have the black Home Mini though, it's going to look kind of weird. Like if you have a white one or the coral color one, it's going to look odd. But still kind of fun.
It is cool.
Thought that was interesting. Okay, so a while ago, Caleb mentioned how Apple was giving anybody who had bought HD movies in the iTunes store free upgrades to 4K versions. Now, in a teardown of the Play Movies app, they have found that they may be adding the option to upgrade your HD videos to 4K and potentially offer these for free.
Ooh.
They're not like there's a lot of lines in there that do suggest that it will be a free upgrade to the 4K videos. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I mean, if Apple was able to make it work, it makes sense that other companies would be able to do this. I mean, that's what we were all hoping for when Apple did it.
Yes. Thank you.
Although
Apple.
I don't know if I haven't bought a lot of movies from the Play Store. So I don't know how much this is going to affect me.
Here's the thing, though. You've got Movies Anywhere.
True.
All the digital movies you have are technically there in the Play Store, and that's how it worked for me. Like all the videos that I had upgraded to 4K via iTunes, they show up as 4K everywhere.
Right, but were they
so?
Like, if you didn't purchase them through iTunes, though, did those ones update?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, I believe so. Because I think Gravity is that one. That one came from Google originally, and then went into Movies Anywhere, and then went into iTunes, and then got upgraded to 4K. And I'm pretty sure it's now 4K everywhere.
So what you're saying is I need to create an iTunes account just so my Microsoft library will be updated? Okay, that's worth it.
Yeah, it's a thought. There's actually, I mean, the big question I have is, has Google been able to more successfully get Disney on board than Apple did? Because that's the giant gaping hole in my movie library, is that none of my Disney movies got updated to 4K. They're all still HD.
Yeah, we don't know, obviously, because this is just the inside of a teardown. So
yeah.
We'll see if and when this gets announced. So
that would be awesome.
That would be rather awesome. Okay, so last little bit of Google news before I move on. This is more on the kind of unfortunate side, I guess. I don't know. It's not really that unfortunate. Google Plus is being killed. On the see, kind of on the unfortunate side, but not really.
No, that's a good thing. I'm happy.
When Google Plus was first announced, I really liked it. It was way better than Facebook with the different features that it had. The problem was nobody used it.
Yeah.
And getting people to go away from Facebook to use Google Plus, it just didn't work, obviously.
Yeah. That was the thing. Nobody used it, and then it kept bugging me to use it.
Yes.
Like every time I would use Google services, it's all like, by the way, Google Plus. And I'm like, no, go away. Shut up.
They definitely pushed that quite heavily for a while. But it's not fully going away, I guess. It's just the consumer version that everyone uses. Well, everyone potentially would have been using. That's going away. partially because it was also somebody released that there was a massive security bug inside of Google Plus that potentially could have given up private data about or private profile info to developers. But according to Google, this was patched back in March. They just didn't talk about it, which is interesting. But it was patched back in March, and they say that there's no evidence that this was found by any developers or that it was abused in any way. So everything should be fine. It's just interesting that they didn't mention it until it was leaked or someone put out a report about it. And now they're all, and this was kind of like the last straw, I guess, for Google to say, okay, fine, we'll just get rid of Google Plus. Whatever. I'm sure getting rid of Google Plus was already in the works. It's just like, okay, well, now that this is out, see ya.
Yeah.
It is still going to be available for G Suite users because it's kind of more heavily a part of that, from what I understand. I don't know how, but it is, I guess. So it's still going to be there for businesses and such. But so that's all of my Google news. So quite a bit of stuff from the Google event.
Good stuff, though.
Yeah. Like I'm excited. I liked all the products that they talked about. The Home Hub was really cool, especially for $150. That's a great price for that type of device. The Pixel Slate, I really liked the Pixel Slate, but at the price, I can't justify it, and especially because what I use a computer for, I definitely can't justify it.
Yeah.
Because I'm not your average consumer. If I was just a normal person and used a laptop for normal things, then yeah, I'd potentially look into a Chromebook or a Pixel Book or something like this. But for me, I can't do it. I need certain apps that don't run on Chrome OS yet, as of now. And they probably won't come for a while, if ever. So it is what it is. And then obviously the phones. I like I said, I pre-ordered the Pixel 3 XL.
Exciting.
Like a couple hours after the event.
64, 128.
Oh, I just went 64.
Yeah.
I've been using 32 gigs of storage on a phone for like 3 or 4 years. I'm perfectly fine with that. Especially, usually the biggest thing with on-device storage is photos. And with Google Photos, I don't have to worry about that.
Yep.
So
unlimited.
So, I just got the 64 gig. That's going to be plenty for me for what I use my phone for. So,
yeah.
But I'm looking forward to it. I will be giving a review on the podcast after I have that device. And like I said, once Caleb gets his 10R, XR, whatever the crap you want to call it, phone, we're going to be doing a camera shootout, and it's going to be fun.
It'll be interesting data.
Something I wanted to bring up, though, Caleb, you mentioned in our little Slack group that you might actually pre-order the phone now. Are you still leaning that way, or are you gonna wait?
I don't know.
I mean, when you said that, I was shocked because you don't pre-order anything.
I don't. I try to avoid it just because I don't believe in the message. No, it's tempting to pre-order, but then at the same time, if I can't pre-order through our local Apple retailer, I'm not going to be pre-ordering.
Yeah.
I will, just go in and buy the thing from them when they have stock of the phone, just because I like them and I want them to stay in business.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I will give them business.
I will say I played with the 10S Max this past week.
Yeah.
That is a beautiful phone. Like that screen. I always liked the 10, and that screen size was good. But man, that Max is, I liked it.
It's beautiful.
The one thing that I would definitely have to get used to, and that I won't have to get used to on the 3XL, is the lack of a chin on the phone. And I've heard this. I mean, yes, it looks great not having that, but usability is a little more difficult to use because of that, because the screen goes right down to the bottom. I've heard people complain about that. It's one of those things you can get used to, obviously, but it might take a little bit.
Yeah.
It's why the keyboard on the X and the XS and presumably the XR has a giant amount of just empty space down at the bottom, where every time the keyboard pops up, you've got like almost a half inch of just gray.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, what the heck is that for? And it's all like, it's so that you can type. Because if they put the space bar all the way down on the bottom of the screen like that, you wouldn't be able to hit it without dropping the phone.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't work very well at all.
Yeah.
So I like, as good as it makes the phone look, it would make it a little harder to use in certain ways. So that's one thing. People are giving a lot of crap to Google because this still has a chin on this phone, but I don't think it's a bad thing. It may look kind of weird, but usability wise, I think it's in some cases is going to be better. Again, the biggest thing is just the looks aspect of it. Doesn't look as good, but whatever. It is what it is. They obviously don't care about how their phone looks. They have a bucket. So
obviously.
Okay, now moving on. Away from Google, finally. It's been a while. OnePlus has announced the unveiling of the OnePlus 6T is going to be October 30th in New York City. Not expecting a ton of differences between the 6 and this phone. Just minor upgrades, kind of how the 5 to the 5T was.
Yeah.
Although, from what we've seen, this phone is going to have a notch as well. So, because that's the thing to do on phones now. It's a notch. It is what it is. It's a notchful world, apparently. Moving on. I don't want to talk too much about that because I don't care. Okay. Next phone that I do want to mention that I thought was interesting is the Razer Phone 2. This was announced this past week. It's a busy week.
Yes, it is. Busy month.
Definitely busy month. Especially if Apple has a hardware event next week. Or in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Which hopefully they do. But anyways, Razer Phone 2 was announced. And I'm just going to run through the specs here really quick. It's got a 5.72-inch IGZO, I don't know what that means, LCD. I just thought it was interesting that they mentioned that, whatever it is. It's got a pixel ratio of, it's a 1440 by 250, oh gosh, I can speak. 1440 by 2560, 120 hertz screen.
Yes.
Again, I think it's still the only phone other than the first Razer phone with a 120 hertz screen. And I'll get into that in a minute. It's got a Snapdragon 845. It's got an Adreno 630 GPU. It's got 8 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of storage, Bluetooth 5, dual 12 megapixel cameras on the back, a wide angle and a telephoto lens, an 8 megapixel front camera, 4,000 milliamp hour battery. So good on them for that.
Yeah.
Dual front facing speakers that are massive and I'm sure they sound amazing. IP67 wireless water resistant. I've said wireless because it also has wireless charging. That's the nice thing on my thing. It's got a vapor chamber cooling system built in the phone, which that's kind of
running
cool.
those hardware specs on a phone. Yeah.
It has a heat pipe. Let's just call it what it is. It has a single heat pipe.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep. And the phone costs $799, which, that runs in line with everything else. But for a niche product like this, that's a lot of money. But it's Razer. They can get away with it, I think. The dedicated Razer fans that are going to be buying this phone are used to throwing money at Razer.
Yes.
So,
I just got to say, like, right now, the Android flagship space is making me feel really good about wanting to buy an iPhone.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Right?
That's never happened before.
Yeah. It's weird.
Cheaper.
Definitely weird.
Yeah.
Like I'm feeling like going for the iPhone XR is the budget option,
which
here.
is sad.
Holy crap!
It's still
it is because that thing starts at $750.
Yeah, that's not a cheap phone.
No.
It's
the world
really
we're in
though. It's
today.
Apple's fault for selling $1,000 phone last year.
It kind
Yes,
of
it
is,
is.
yeah.
But whatever. One unfortunate part about this phone is it ships with Android 8.1,
Yes.
and that's retarded. I'm sorry, Razer. 9.0 has been out since August. It's October. Fix your crap, man.
Yeah.
Come on. This is garbage. Shouldn't be shipping a phone in October with 8.1.
Well,
Gosh. You and LG, freaking retards.
true. But they're going to get a lot of money for this.
Yeah. Yes. $800 and you don't get the newest version of Android? Seriously?
It'll update soon. So,
You would hope.
Well, probably. Hopefully.
Yeah. I mean, that's what LG's saying too, so we'll see.
Yeah.
The one really cool thing on this phone that I really like is the logo on the back
Yes.
is an RGB light up.
Yes,
Just
it is.
Like, it's got a little sensor in the back there.
Yep.
And it's customizable.
It is.
That's what's even more cool.
It is
you
cool.
so you can set up certain notifications to light up the back in different colors and all sorts of fun stuff like that.
You can actually sync it with your computer. So if you have it next to your computer,
Oh,
it'll
it's
go with your
amazing.
keyboard and all that stuff that they have. Yeah, it's pretty dope.
That's the reason to buy this phone.
The
Nothing
cool
else.
aspect, playing Fortnite, because I think Fortnite right now is the only one that can take advantage of the 120 hertz.
Probably.
Right, that I was reading. I'm sure there's probably a couple other like little games here and there that'll tote that.
Right.
On this phone, as I was doing some research on it, it's basically the Razer One, but with a lot of updates to the stuff that the Razer One was weak with, or bugs or things like that. So that's the big thing there is what it is. They say it's looks pretty close to the same. Doesn't have a notch, so
Yeah.
that's a plus, I guess.
Yeah. But that's because of the massive speakers that are on the front.
Massive speakers, but
And a 5.72 inch screen instead of a 6-inch screen, which isn't that big of a deal, I don't think.
no. But people, I mean, this is definitely a niche, but there is a big niche for this because I've seen a lot of people really like this. Well, the last phone, so they'll definitely be buying this one.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Pre-orders for this phone are open now. So if you are interested, you can pre-order it if you want. Again, the cool thing for me on this phone is just that light up logo. It's pretty awesome.
It's cool.
It's something that people have been wanting Apple to do forever with the iPhone. Put a light up Apple on the back, which would have been cool, but I get why they don't. That's kind of a waste of
their
space.
solution to that problem was just to take it off of their laptops.
Yeah, which
So now you don't get glowing apples anymore.
yeah, I missed the glowing apples on the laptops. That was cool.
That was cool.
But I get it. It's useless to have a light up logo like that. But it just looks cool.
It does.
Especially where this one you can change the colors.
Yep.
It's amazing. Okay. Now, on to some more general tech.
Yep.
I was going to use that to go into gaming, but no, not going to. I forgot about this one. Facebook for some odd reason announced what they're calling the Portal or Portal Plus as well.
Yes.
And what this is a video calling device from Facebook.
Yes.
Why anybody would buy this, I have no idea.
By the way, I was listening to Windows Weekly on this device, and Leo Lepore, the host, he canceled his Facebook account, but he got the device, but it made him restart his Facebook account.
Well, you can't
use it.
You can't even buy it without a Facebook account.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, he mentioned that on MacBreak Weekly as well.
Did he? Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought that was really funny. I was like, huh, well, okay.
Yeah, so I'm going to go through a couple details on this. So the Portal has a 10-inch 1280 by 800 display. The Portal Plus has a 15-inch 1920 by 1080 display. The smaller costs $199, and the bigger is $349. Alexa is built in, so they've kind of partnered with Amazon to make it somewhat better. I don't know.
This might be a dumb question, but is that Alexa and Cortana, or is it just Alexa?
I don't know. It just said Alexa. I would assume both, because Alexa and Cortana just kind of mingle together.
No, okay. I'm just wondering.
I don't know. It just mentioned it's got Alexa built in. Something I thought was awfully interesting and is kind of convenient, especially because this is coming from Facebook. It is going to be shipping with a physical camera cover. So if you're not using it for video chat, you can cover the camera up, which is something I would definitely recommend.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah. It's kind of poor timing. Not that ever is good timing for Facebook to announce something like this, but especially recently with all the different security breaches they've had over the past year. It's just, it's not a good look for Facebook in this regard. They talked a lot about security, obviously. They said it promises not to listen, view, or keep the contents of your video calls. So that's you would hope that'd be the case. It does not use facial recognition or identify users at all. So that's also a good thing, because, Facebook could do that stuff.
Yeah.
With all the stuff they have on us. The only video platform that it is using is Facebook Messenger, which that makes sense.
Obviously.
I guess. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. You can't, so like I said, it's got Alexa built in, so you can do Alexa commands with it. I don't know how in depth that is, if it's a full-on Alexa device or what, but you can also say, "Hey Portal," to call people and whatnot on it. They say they have partnered with Spotify, Pandora, and iHeartRadio, and also obviously Facebook Watch to watch or listen to different content with other people on the call. So that's kind of interesting. So if you're talking to someone and you don't actually want to talk to them, you can listen to music or watch something, I guess, from different areas of the world.
Seems like an old feature.
It's very interesting.
They used to have that when Netflix first came out on the 360, the Xbox. You could be in a party and watch the same videos with the people in your party.
Huh. That makes sense, I guess.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's definitely a niche thing, obviously, but
yeah, for sure.
You could do that.
When this thing is not being used for videos and calls and stuff like that, it can show some photos or videos or notifications and stuff. So I guess that's kind of cool. I don't know.
It's a lot of money for a picture frame.
Yeah, a Facebook picture frame. You can pre-order this right now at Amazon, Best Buy, or portal.facebook.com. I'm just going to go ahead and say no. Because of all the crap that Facebook has done, or all the stuff that's happened with them recently. This is not the type of product you buy from Facebook.
No. Especially if it's only their services.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But anyways, that's finally all of the news that I have.
All the news. Well, good. Oh, well, I'm glad we got
just go ahead and be quiet for a while now.
Well, I'm just glad that we got some good news from, obviously, Microsoft dropping the ball and, a little bit of intel.
Yeah.
On that, too. So, no, it's exciting. As someone that's new into Google, learning all these new features and things, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
So.
And I've got questions from multiple people, and I've seen it on a lot of different places. If so going back to Google and their event with the Pixel 3, is it worth upgrading from certain devices? Like you asked me
Yep.
if going from a 2 to a 3 would be worth it, and I'm going to say no. It's not. This is definitely what a lot of people and I would agree with. It's kind of the S year for Pixel phones, kind of like the iPhones with the S year phones,
Yeah.
This is an S year product. It is different enough that there are some benefits, but
Software side
especially, not much on the hardware side. There's a little bit, but yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is the updated processor, whatever.
Yeah.
And wireless charging, I guess. But again, if you're coming from a Pixel 2, I would say no. If you're coming from almost any other phone, any other Android phone, like the Pixel 1 or Samsung's or different, HTC, LG, whatever, then yeah, I would say it's worth it. Again, it's on the pricey side, but what flagship phone isn't nowadays? And if you buy it from Verizon or even from Google, you can get a financing plan with 0% financing, and that's what I'm doing to make it easier to purchase.
Yep.
So
it's not a bad plan.
But yeah, I'm excited to get a new phone. It's been a while. 2 years. I need a new phone.
He's excited. Yeah, he is. It's fun to get new hardware, right, Caleb? Even if it's from China.
Oh, well, I suppose.
That's why he's not as excited about getting new hardware, because he just gets new crap from China all the time.
Let me try this.
New in air quotes.
Yes.
Reconfigured. Anyway, I guess we'll go into our gaming section.
If anybody's still listening.
Yeah.
Yes.
Of course.
Speak quickly.
So, going to go ahead and do the Xbox update that came in October. So, they now have the Amazon Alexa integration with next-gen avatars and Dolby Vision that's come to Xbox. So, the Amazon Alexa integration just means you can talk to if you have a Amazon device, say like an Echo Dot or something that's connected, you can now, in a sense, use the Dot to control your Xbox. So you can just say, hey, Alexa, turn on Xbox and play Diablo, or invite this friend, or whatever. So you can do that, read stats. Basically anything Cortana could do, you can do that.
Anything Cortana can do, Alexa can do better.
Yeah.
Is that the words? I don't know.
I think, well, yeah. But if you do have a microphone on the Xbox, you can talk to Alexa on the Xbox as well.
That is cool. That's a nice little feature.
So either or. So
right.
So that was a big thing. The next thing is the next-gen avatars they brought out. When you update, that's the first thing that pops up. It's like, hey, here's your new avatar, which basically is your old avatar, but they just took all the same things you had before, brought it over, except your digital downloadable stuff. You have to rebuy everything for these new avatars.
Of course.
But they give you like set clothes and things. But I mean, it was pretty close. They just didn't have glasses on mine. I was like, oh, well, all right. But they really are dedicated in these avatars to really show whatever. I mean, you can put whatever on these things. You can go down to where you have different colored fingernails.
Wow.
You can, like, obviously you can be they cater to people like in wheelchairs or something. You could do that. I mean, anything, any kind of body form you want, masculine, feminine, anything.
That's
all
cool.
You. So
that's pretty cool.
It's cool. I mean, there's nothing. I'm assuming they may do stuff like actually when I pre-ordered the Tomb Raider, they actually sent me a thing saying, hey, we actually have something for the new avatars, but when they come out, then we'll send you something for your new avatar. So I was like, oh, that's cool, I guess. So obviously games there, and I think they're going to try and continue doing when you beat a game, you get certain items that are for your avatar that are from that game, like Red Dead Redemption, you get like John Marston's cowboy hat or some kind of prop or something. So
that's
gun.
Cool.
So kind of fun little things to express yourself.
Yeah, that's nice.
Obviously, then the next is Dolby Vision that they've added to the Xbox, so that definitely helps with anything that you're trying to watch in Dolby Vision. So
very cool.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. So Google, a lot of us are speculating. Don't know if it made Microsoft worry or lit a fire under their butt to release a trailer on their new, they call Microsoft's xCloud game streaming service.
This basically their competitor to what Google's doing with Chrome.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So basically, they came out with a big trailer with a bunch of Microsoft employees and made it really fancy and showed off that, hey, I have an Xbox controller that I have hooked up to like a phone, and I'm actually playing Forza 4 on it. If you look at it, it's actually kind of it's pretty cool. It's got a little stand on the controller, which they toted for that, or an iPad or whatever, and they were playing like Sea of Thieves on an iPad, which didn't have a controller.
Huh.
And they talked about quite a few things. Number one, that they've actually are testing this out right now, and they've basically taken like four Xboxes apart and put it into one box, and then each one of these, which they call a server, and then they just have a billion of these servers that are streaming all this stuff for people, is kind of what they broke the video down to say. So you can, whether it's on your phone, whether it's on anything like that, you can still play. And it gives you what would be the word? A better controller. So if you don't have a controller and you're playing on your phone or a tablet, it actually has a built-in controller for you that's easier to use. So if you're playing Sea of Thieves on a tablet, which sounds asinine to me, or something like that, I'm sure Caleb probably too, but you can do it. They didn't say anything about if it's going to be a service. They didn't say anything about like how much it would be, if at all. But they went ahead and just brought out this trailer and showed quite a few things. A lot of people playing, like I said, Sea of Thieves, Forza, all their stuff on phones, tablets, things like that, and just talked about, they had like Phil Spencer be like, oh, the biggest thing in gaming is we want to make sure that you can game wherever you want. If you just want to hop in and play, here you go. Just hop in and play. So, but nothing else. But they just did a little teaser. But a lot of people were like, this seems left field. But okay, here it is.
I could see something like this being thrown into like Game Pass, potentially.
Yeah, I think
make it a little easier to play, like you said, play games anywhere.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
I think this might be actually, they might be evolving gold to another tier, to like platinum, to where if you have platinum, then you get Game Pass, this, and gold. Is kind of my thought that's happening with all these different services for Xbox.
Yeah.
So you don't have like 3 or 4 different services going on. But that's my thought, and obviously other people's thoughts on that. So, but they did mention that, and I think it's cool. I know a lot of these services haven't been as successful, but I am hoping these streaming services, this next gen or whatever, I would like to see what they bring to the table of gaming. Because obviously they said, if you want the premium experience, you'll obviously buy the console or computer.
Right.
You'll have that. Sure. But for the streaming, this gives you the option to do that. So, well, I guess we'll see. And they did talk about that they've been working with 5G networks, even though they're not out right now, like to optimize it with. But they said that they actually get a pretty decent stream actually over 4G.
That's cool.
Kind of cool. Just wanted to update people on that, but so. And that's what I have so far for gaming. I know Caleb and I have a couple of things together, so I'll let him mention the next things. You ready, Caleb?
Oh, I'm not going to.
No, I don't want to.
I'm not going to mention those. No, I have just a couple of pieces of like actual news that I wanted to catch people up on, because I'm kind of sick of talking about rumors and stuff like that.
Yes.
So, listeners may recall that Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice, is a thing that I love. They've actually announced a physical retail edition of that game for PS4 and Xbox One that's going to be coming out on December 4th, which is kind of weird because the game is very much it was an indie game release, and those are pretty much all digitally distributed, but it was popular enough that they're going to be doing a physical edition of it, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I just wanted to mention, like, right now, the Uncharted series and Journey are both on sale until the 16th of October. on PlayStation 4. So if you've got a PS4 and you don't have the entire Uncharted series or the Journey and its associated the other games from that game company, it's a good time to grab those. I just bought Journey and Flow and Flower because I haven't played Journey yet, and that is just a massive oversight in my soul. So I'm going to be fixing that.
That's awesome.
So this was a kind of fun little thing. So Stardew Valley, anybody who's heard of Stardew Valley, you know what that is. If you haven't heard of Stardew Valley, I really don't know how to describe it to you. Go look up some gameplay on YouTube. It is a weird little pixel-based simulation game. Has been out on PC and console for a while now and is going to be coming to iOS on October 24th. So pre-orders for that are actually open right now. You can pick it up for $8 is how much that's going to cost for iPad and iPhone. And on the 19th, so that is going to be, shortly after this podcast is released, Soul Calibur 6 is going to be releasing. So Soul Calibur is it's a fighting game series. Think, Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat, except with less fatalities and gore and more gigantic cinematic brawls and stuff like that. That's kind of what they go for. So that's coming out on the 19th. And I did want to mention that Geralt of Rivia from the Witcher franchise is going to be in this one. So
yes,
that should be pretty exciting. I'm not necessarily saying anything about Overwatch because I'd rather be playing it right now than talking about it. But
oh, come on. It's our favorite event.
I mean, come on. It is. The Halloween event is live right now, and it's awesome. I don't know.
It's cool. Got some pretty cool new skins. It's kind of fun to see Soldier 76 in a Jason mask.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. Oh. I guess that's all he wants to talk about.
That was all of the gaming news that I had, really.
Like
I said, I just got some releases that are coming out soon, and that's pretty much it.
Oh, yeah, and then obviously we still have those big AAAs that are coming out. I think what do you call it?
COD Blops 4.
COD Blops 4 is out.
That is
seen
out
lots
now.
of people playing that, bugging me to buy it, but I'm just not into that. But and then obviously Red Dead Redemption's coming out near the end of the month. A bunch of big games coming. But it's going to be exciting because that means all the sales and holiday sales that are coming for Xbox, PS4, and Steam, obviously. So hopefully your wallets are bigger for yourself or for your friends because there's gifting. Do you know if there's gifting digital content on PS4?
I'm sure there is.
Because I know it took Xbox a while, but I just wondering.
Yeah, I haven't looked into it in detail, but I would not at all be surprised based on the stuff that I have seen.
Cool. Well, awesome. Well, I believe that's everything. Yep. All right. Well.
Yep.
If you guys want to get a hold of us for anything that we have talked about or have any suggestions, you can get a hold of us on our website, obviously, on callingallplatforms.com. You can also check out some pretty sweet new videos that Caleb is putting up on our YouTube channel, Calling All Platforms there. And would definitely be looking forward to this new Pixel 3 XL review from Landon.
Yes.
And we'll call it the camera war between Caleb and Landon. See which is better.
That'll be coming a little bit later, probably.
Yeah, but still, you can look forward to it.
But I am looking forward to that personally.
I'm hoping before it starts snowing because I don't want to be out in the snow like late one night taking pictures and stuff. That doesn't sound like much fun to me.
I'll agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
Anyway. Why you need a pre-order, Caleb? Come on.
Do it. Peer pressure.
You really think that XPRCOM is going to be sold out of the iPhone XR the first day that it releases?
No, you're right.
I'm pretty sure that it'll come out. I can walk into there and just take one off the shelf. That's my.
Okay. Before we end, that's always been the case with my wife getting the new iPhone. We've been able to go into just the AT&T store, and there's never a line. We can just go in, day of release, and get one in most cases.
Yeah. I suspect that if I were to go into the Verizon store, I would have limited options. I might not be able to get the color I wanted, or I might not be able to get the storage I wanted or something like that, but you'd be able to get a phone.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm pretty sure that Xpercom, I'm going to be able to walk in there and get whatever I want.
Yeah.
So I probably will not actually pre-order.
But you won't be waiting.
It goes against my principles. Well,
if you get a day of, that's basically pre-ordering.
Day after, I don't know. We'll see.
It's all the same.
Awesome. Well, everyone, thank you for listening and have a good night.
Bye-bye.
See ya.